There's times where showcases are so amazing, so mesmerizing, and so masterful that you have to go back and really analyze everything that happened. There have been countless of these in the history of the NBA, and what a shame it would be to not really dive deep into them. From the times where Kobe dropped 54 games in a row, LeBron's historic playoff run with the electrifying chase down block, and all the way back to Michael Jordan's flu game. There's so many memorable moments for many players, so I would like to welcome you all to the Rewind series. A series where we analyze just how good a player picked apart his opponents, whether it be in the regular season over a stretch of games, great playoff runs, or even historic finals performances. It's nice to see how a player really played when you go back to look at it, and to continue the series, we're analyzing the historic 32-game run from James Harden. Now, after an MVP season in 2017-18, James Harden followed it up with yet another amazing year in the following 2018-19 season, where lots of people honestly thought he could have took home the MVP trophy once again. The way he was lighting up the defense night in and night out was truly mesmerizing to say the least, and honestly, there was no slowing him down. Over the course of the season, Harden averaged 36 points, 7 assists and 6 rebounds, while maintaining shooting splits of 44% from the field and 36% from deep range. Now, as we all know, James Harden's bag of tricks runs extremely deep, and as he approached the date of December 13th, this is when we seen Harden lock in and just turn it up to a whole nother level. From the starting date of December 13th all the way through February 21st, Harden scored 30 plus points in 32 games straight, and when we dig a little deeper into the stats, over this span, Harden averaged 41 points, 7 assists and 8 rebounds, while knocking down 44% of his shots from the field, 37% of his shots from deep, and also draining 89% of his free throws. Yeah, I know, these numbers look like something straight out of a video game, but trust me, it gets even crazier. During this streak, Harden attempted 411 free throws for an average of 12 per game, put up 18 40-point games, and 4 50-point games as well. So when I said the stats would get even crazier, I truly meant it. There was countless ways Harden was dissecting the defense that they simply couldn't handle, as his offensive arsenal was being put on display at an extremely high level. It would range all the way from these deep smacks over a defender from 31 feet, deceptive hezzies to go floated over the top of the defense, and then these nasty combo serves which makes Rubio play Just Dance Revolution before sidestepping to knock it down. The bag was just way too deep for defenders to contain, and for any way the defense schemed to guard him, Harden had a counter for anything they threw at him. It really got to the point where Harden was just way too deadly as a scorer that the defense would shade him all the way to the right side completely, but trust and believe, this was not the smartest idea at all. When you crowd Harden on his left side and force him to his right hand, it gives Harden the advantage as he can get into the defender's body with the strong shoulder and create separation for jumpers or go to the rack. Like watch here, Harden stays patient with the swipe through to get Korver on this left side, so now he can get into his body, pound that one dribble while bouncing off, and when Korver tries to contest, he's in a bad position now, and it's an and one for Harden on the three-pointer. Now some of you are probably like, well, Korver was right there, so how was that bad positioning? Well, this is why. Since Harden is left-handed, when you're trying to contest a jumper from the left side, it's extremely difficult as you have to try and throw off his shot, but at the same time, you have to try and avoid hitting his shooting hand as well. Coming up the floor right here, Bridges is heavily shading Harden to that right side on the sideline, but as you can see on the side step pull-up, Bridges has to pull back his contest a little quicker so Harden can't draw the foul on the follow-through, and you can see the extra caution even more as he puts his hands behind his back as the ball drops through the net. So do you kinda see why disturbing his jumper was a problem for the defense? I mean, I guess they could get up tighter and crowded space, but this is when Harden can pull out these aggressive snatches, just sending the defense on a lean tour, and then he bombs it away from 24 feet. With this super tight and shifty handle, it wasn't a place on the court Harden couldn't get to, and he was just out there treating the defenders like they were cones during training camp. When you pair that sturdy combo handle with the ability to lull defenders to sleep as well, this is when you get a mixture of these flashy moves where he's shifting behind the back, stepping back on the gather, and launching it from deep, to then rocking the defense to sleep with the behind the back before using the lazy hezzy, which freezes the defender so he can then explode out for an open attack at the basket. If you ask me, it was really pick your poison when Harden started sizing you up, because either way, he was probably gonna get the bucket. Since his three-point shot at the time was so deadly, it makes you have to sort of bite on the hezzies when he dishes it out, but this is when Harden will go through the legs to shift your momentum one way and then totally yank you going back the other way with the cross, and now you're left in the dust as he flies in to grab the and one. For some defenders, they actually learned to stay grounded when he used the hezzy after the signature size up, but that's when he would say, okay, and just opt into these quick step backs to knock it down despite the contact and gain a 4-point play. Yeah, it would just get nasty out there when he started getting in his groove, and that's when you would see plays where Harden was playing with his food before abruptly stopping on a dime, stepping back, and dropping it in. Like honestly, I want you to tell me in the comments below, what do you think will be the best method to really slow Harden down? Because the defense was truly trying everything in their power, and it just seemed as if nothing was working out for them. You'd come across these times where the defense would actually play him pretty solid and make him give it up, and then they would even proceed to face guard him, but Harden was just too slippery and would backdoor them to receive the pass to go float it home. And then there'd be these other times where they hedge aggressively on the screen to hopefully force him into a bad predicament, but James would just slightly carry the ball out before splitting right through the defense for an easy warm-up lay. It was just counter after counter after counter for James Harden, and right when you thought you had him figured out, well guess what? Here comes another counter. Every move was done in a calculated manner as if he knew he could set the defense up to just all out fool them, and that's when these change of directions were so effective. Turning defense into offense here, Harden intercepts his pass going down low, and on the push, it's this uber quick choppy step drop crossover that shifts the defense as he goes back towards the right, and it makes for this emphatic slam on the break. Now look, that was fairly quick and more on the simple side, but when Harden was carving his way to the lane, it was truly a work of art when we slow down and analyze it. Just by baiting defenders into fouls, Harden would initially attack one way to get the defense going that way, and in a blink of an eye, he would carry back through while keeping the ball low going the other direction, and since the defense reaches in, it's just a power through for the and one bucket. It would happen in many different ways, so when Harden worked out these ISOs, as soon as the double came his way, he would push downhill. Now the defense is leaning in that direction, so when he explodes out the power dribble cutting back into the defender, it's just too quick for them to get their hands out the way, and now Harden has an easy one at the rim and one more at the line. It's truly comical the way Harden was just exploiting defense on a nightly basis, and when you have bigs on him like that last play, it made things that much more easier for him. When you're on the court, you must notice any mismatch in a split second to take advantage of it, and trust and believe Harden was a master at this. Many of you wouldn't even pick up on this in real time, but as soon as the big releases off the screen to get back, Harden notices that he has a window to attack the basket as there's no real paint presence just yet. This defender over here has to stay on the corner man, and he knows that he can already be his defender, so Harden accelerates to the basket, euros into the paint with that low rip through, and now it's what? Another and one. Back during these days, some would call it foul baiting, others would call it cheating, but over here at Hoop Mastery, we all know it's just impeccable IQ and basketball greatness. Like bruh, you can't just send a big out high shading Harden so hard in one direction, because all it takes is a quick cross to blow right past them, and now it's a gimme at the rim. So what shall we call it? A masterclass, summer league with a vet, or just unstoppable basketball? Because even when we break it down to the most simplest form and Harden wasn't using any of the special moves to get to the basket, then he would just use his 36'6" frame to body defenders out his way to go score in close. On this fast break, he literally made Kuzma look like a little baby, just sending him flying out of bounds on the attack here. And then by noticing the baseline is wide open, Harden spins off Fournier going baseline, bodies him off to take him out the play, and then uses this baby float off the glass right before Vucevic could get there and contest it. Yeah. Like I said, everything was thought out, well planned, and well executed. Once the defense was so worried about the drives, that's when these snatches just worked in a spectacular fashion, and you would see the defense just get totally embarrassed when Harden would yank them before pulling up to dot it right in their face. The versatility of Harden during this run was ridiculous, and this scoring eruption over the 32-game span was literally one for the history books. In my humble opinion, James Harden is one of the best scorers the NBA has ever laid eyes on, and this rewind showcase shows exactly why he should be considered as one of the best scorers in the NBA. How do you feel about this 32-game streak from Harden? Let me know down low in the comments. If you enjoyed this rewind analysis, be sure to drop a like before heading over to watch this Kyrie Irving rewind. I thank you all for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.